There was this party I was invited to. Semi-formal at a frat house. Normally I'm not much of a partier, but I had a bad week and I just wanted to go out and enjoy myself. I'd been dancing for a while and I needed a drink, so I went in the back where the drinks were being served, and this guy gave me a cup of water. My friends knew him and he seemed like a nice guy, so I really didn't think anything of it. It'd been like 20 minutes since I drank the water. And I started feeling really out of it. I stumbled down the hallway to the bathroom and I collapsed there. All the while I felt like I was being watched. That's when he came up to me and picked me up, and I don't know where we were going. I was falling in and out of consciousness. He took me to this room. When I woke up, I was finally able to move again. My clothes were off and I was bleeding. I wish he was dead.
Now, I don't give a shit what you think of me, honestly. If you can think of a faster way to make money in this day and age, you can let me know. Maybe I'll try it out. I mean, honestly, can you think of a good reason not to? I mean, throw all that bullshit out the window. If you want weed, X, acid, shrooms, acid's harder to get, but anything you want, pretty much I can get. I mean, that's what I do. It's my job. I'm a transactional facilitator, if you want to think of it that way. And, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but healthcare ain't free. So, excuse me if I sell a couple dime bags here and there to keep my mom out of the hospital. If that's what it takes, that's what I'm gonna do. So, you know, pardon me, but go fuck yourself.
Alright, well, that day my girlfriend and I were out running some errands. We decided to stop at a vending machine to grab a drink. I didn't have any change, and so she ended up putting her purse down and looking through it for some change. This lady runs by and grabs the purse, so I run after her. And eventually I catch up to her, I grab the purse, and then the police show up, and they tackle her. Now, I couldn't have kept outrunning her for much longer, so it's a good thing they showed up, and my girlfriend had called them and let them know what actually happened, because I didn't want to get called a purse snatcher.
So about a month ago, a colleague of mine made a scientific breakthrough. He managed to lock himself in one of our unused labs for about 3 weeks, and we didn't even know he was in there until the second week. Needless to say, we were pretty worried about him. We tried everything we could to get him out of there, but nothing really seemed to be working. We brought in his family and the authorities and lots of other people to try and coax him out of the lab, but nothing seemed to work. It turns out that before he locked himself in the lab, he convinced himself that he found a way to cure cancer. So naturally he became pretty paranoid and locked himself in the lab because he thought that if we found his research, we would publish it before he got a chance to. So when he came out, he was pretty hysterical. He was laughing at everything he saw. He looked pretty animated, more animated than usual. But we went in and took a look at what he'd been doing, and it turns out that he found a way to cure not one but 2 types of cancer. But then again, if I had found something like that, I would have done the same thing.
Six months ago, my sister died. She was diagnosed with leukemia. My parents had been begging her to seek treatment, to go through the chemotherapy and to find a way to stop this. But she refused. Every time they asked her, she refused. Even every time I asked her, she refused. She and I were very close. When she first learned about this, she'd been talking a lot about death. She'd been doing a lot of research on her illness. She was very scared. She felt that there was no hope whatsoever of her getting better. A month after her learning about this, she actually came to us saying that she'd done some more research and she found a doctor that she felt that could help her. Her only request was that we didn't go with her, and if she wanted to tell us something, she'd tell us. We compromised, and that's what we agreed on. She'd been seeing this doctor for 2 weeks before her death. Turned out that he was a euthanasiast. We're still in the process of talking to lawyers and trying to get him behind bars for what he did. But the more I think about it, the more I hate to realize that she actually chose this. She wanted to die, but not because of cancer. She didn't want to live a life of pain, and she couldn't bear it, and she couldn't bear to see us watch her like that. It was her choice.
So we set up camp at probably like 8 in the morning, and I finished before everyone else because I just wanted to get more rest. And I had one of those really cheap tents that don't really close all the way or have a bottom. So I'm laying down for not more than 5 minutes, and I start feeling like a weird itching on my arm. And turns out I laid down directly on top of a black widow spider's nest, and they were just biting my arm. And you know, immediately I brushed off as many as I could and killed a lot of them. But then I started to feel kind of weird. So my girlfriend's walking me to the car so we can get to the nearest hospital, and we're in the back seat, and she's on the phone with 911, and they suggest to draw out some of the poison to cut the wound open on my arm. And that was definitely not one of my better trips.
We'd been tipped off that a group of Albanian terrorists had planted 3 bombs around the city. We knew the locations, and generally, one was in the embassy, another in a residential building, an apartment complex full of innocent civilians, and the third in the UN building. Luckily, though, one of our groups of men had been able to capture one of the Albanian terrorists and was holding them in custody. I was in charge of the investigation and the interrogation. We knew the exact location of the one bomb in the apartment complex that EOD had located after doing a quick sweep of the building, but we didn't know how to disarm it. It was something new we hadn't seen before. And based on that timer on that bomb, we knew we didn't have much time for the other 2. The captured terrorist was uncooperative. He refused to tell us the locations of the bombs and how to disarm them. We gave him everything he wanted. We offered him amnesty. All we wanted was to save lives, but he wouldn't budge. I had no choice but to do what was necessary to get the information in time. I make no apologies for what I did. I did what was necessary to serve my country and to save lives.